Thanks, Abel, for joining the podcast, where we just thought the Boring Career Podcast could be the name for this podcast.
I mean, that I would definitely listen to a podcast named the Boring Career Podcast. Yeah, it would be interesting to know what boring stuff are they talking about.
Yeah, and today we're going to go over your boring career.
Oh, okay, amazing. Now I'm more excited.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, the reason why I am very keen to have you on this podcast is, well, in your very boring career, you are one of the first people, if not the first person, from an Ethiopian university who made it into Google.
Mm-hmm.
And overcoming that, not having necessarily any role models, I find very interesting. I also personally, as someone who grew up in Europe, grew up with stereotypes in my head where I would like to know which ones are true, which ones are not true at all. Where have I been fed absolute bullshit? Yeah, you also have a very cool and inspiring startup yourself, which is also something I would like to discover a bit more about in this podcast.
All right.
So just to let the audience know a bit more about who you are.
Yeah.
As I mentioned, you work for Google.
Yeah.
So just a few quick fire questions. So questions where you answer with just 1 or 2 words at most.
Yeah.
No lengthy in depth. Just for everyone to get to know you.
Okay.
So what is your career? What is your job?
Yeah, I'm a first of all, like, my name is Abel, and I'm
Good point.
just in case if you need it. I'm a software engineer at Google, and I'm originally from Ethiopia.
Yeah. How long have you been a software engineer?
For about 2.5 years by now.
The whole time at Google?
Yeah.
Okay.
I came directly from uni.
Okay.
So,
what did you study?
I studied software engineering for my bachelor's.
Okay. In Ethiopia?
Yeah. In Addis Ababa University.
Which is the capital?
Yes, that's a university, one of the top universities in Ethiopia. And yeah, it resides in the capital.
Okay. Have you ever had imposter syndrome?
What is imposter syndrome?
When you think you may not be good enough or not in the right place.
Oh, all the time.
All the time?
All the time. I mean, so the thing is, like, usually I don't have that mindset where I think like I'm smart. Yeah. It's just things happen. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. And when people say like, oh, you must be smart that you're working for Google and stuff, like, I mean, if you say so, but like, I don't, like, one thing that I have confidence in myself is I know I can get things done. That's the confidence that I have. But smartness, it depends. Like, it depends on what you do.
We will get into your mindset in a little bit later.
Okay.
There's one last question for the quick fire round.
Okay.
In high school, have you ever stolen a poem from the internet and said it was yours?
Oh, no. No. I had a very limited internet in high school as well, so I didn't have the opportunity to even do that. But I did win a poetry competition. So yeah.
That's the poetry competition, I guess your friends told me about.
Oh, I see. Yeah. But there was this weird situation where my teacher did not believe that I actually wrote that poem. So I had to convince him, like, I had to take some time and convince him, like, I actually wrote that poem. And maybe, like, it must be so good that he did not believe me. That's the excuse I decided to give myself. But no, like, I mean, back in the days, but it was not easy to get an internet access, especially when I was in high school.
Okay. I guess I'll just believe you on this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
You better.
I'm better. Yeah. All right. Then let's get into your career. Software engineer at Google. I don't want to go too much into what is software engineering. I think there's a ton of information out there. Yeah. And then as well, being at Google, there's a ton of information out there. If someone wants that,
definitely
just go on YouTube. But just on a high level, what are the 2 main skill sets you would say someone needs who is a software engineer at Google?
One, I would say problem solving skills. You need to be a bit creative to be able to solve the problems that you're going to be, encountering while working for Google. So creativity and problem solving. And second is communication, because it's a very big international company. And if you don't have the necessary communication skills that you need to communicate with people, express yourself really well, then you might struggle a bit. I would say communication skill and problem solving skills are like the most important skills to be successful at Google.
That's good. Because I actually asked my roommate who also works at Google the same question. He was like, I think he just said stakeholder management next to problem solving.
Yeah.
All right. And then a day as a software engineer at Google, what does it look like? A lot of meetings, just writing a ton of code, or what is it?
Yeah, it depends. I would say, for example, like for a full-time software engineer like me, at my level, I mean, there are managers and also there are like software engineers, right? So for me, like as a normal software engineer, most of the time is in the morning, very good breakfast from the cuisines. And then you just jump on coding, and you might have like a couple of meetings about like, progress updates, stand-ups. And then like you just jump into coding, and you have like multiple tasks assigned to you, so you're gonna be just jumping in like coding. Good snacks, we have like an amazing snacks bar.
You guys get very spoiled. I've been to your office.
I mean, that's one of my favorite things from the office. So snacks, code, eat, code, coffee, code, meetings, and code, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That would be the highlight of it, like as a normal software engineer. But like if you're like a manager, then it's like they have a bunch of meetings.
So, talking about manager, what is like the typical career progression for anyone who joins Google, especially as a software engineer?
So usually, like if you're joining as a full-time, it depends on the level. So you start from level 3, which is like a junior software engineer, like a graduate position, like when you...
And it starts at level 3 because before that it's intern and...
and apprenticeship. So, and then you progress to L4, like level 4, and then where you become more independent, and then you progress to L5, which is like more senior, and handle your own projects and everything. And then that's where where you choose if you want to be a manager or an IC, like individual contributor. So it depends on where you're interested in. So if you want to go through the managerial path, then you want to manage people, and then that's where you start like your management career. Then you progress to L6, L7, it goes like that.
Yeah. And then what was it exactly that made you think, oh, I really want to join Google?
To be honest, I never thought I would join Google at all.
What did you think you were going to join?
So from my background, where I'm from, Ethiopia, we don't have that much like opportunities leading to these big tech companies. And you, just because of the lack of those opportunities, you would never imagine yourself being in Google. Like even like, you see this thing on the internet, on YouTube, and you'll be like, I mean, if I end up in there, or like even just see the office, it would be like a huge deal. You get, so I never thought that I would make it here. Me, probably what I would imagine myself is I would probably create something of my own, because the best thing about the software engineering environment is the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
You don't need much to start something. Like if you see all these big tech companies, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they all started from a very small beginning, like from garage and stuff. So you don't need like huge capital, a lot of financial. I mean, you might need it, but like to build the whole system, you don't need much. Like you just need your laptop. So like the biggest that I imagined is probably I'll just create something interesting of my own. Mm-hmm. And if people find it useful and interesting, and if it, just in case if blew up, I might have like my own startup company, like big tech, something like really successful, but like really also impacting people's life. So that was like where I usually imagine myself from uni until I got this opportunity. And
you also mentioned that coming from Ethiopia, having studied in Ethiopia, you didn't really have any role models who made it from Ethiopia into big tech. So what is your story? How did you, together with your two friends who also made it in the same year, all get into Google?
So what happened was there was this program called Africa to Silicon Valley. The founder's name is Emre. So he came to Ethiopia first. Like he came up with this idea where he managed to convince people in Google, let's just break this thing and just give them opportunity to give them interviews to them, and then if they prove themselves and manage to pass these interviews, and then it would be fair to give them an opportunity to join Google. And he came up with this idea. He managed to get the opportunity lined up and came to Ethiopia.
Was he in Google himself, or
he was a software engineer at Google. He is an ex-software engineer. He also worked in Palantir. He worked in a bunch of like top tech companies before, so he knew like the gap the gap between like Africa and Silicon Valley, and more. It's not just Ethiopia; it's like the whole African continent. We don't get this opportunity as much like the developed countries.
Yeah.
All right.
Because you said there's Ethiopians at Google, but most likely they went to a Western university.
Exactly. And they secured the positions from there. But like directly from Ethiopia, it's not easy. Like the chances are very, very low. So he came up with this opportunity to our uni, and he selected like top students from the uni, and he showed us how to solve problem using data structure and algorithm. And we prepared for the interviews for 3 months, and then got the interview for internship roles.
How does he select the best students? Is it purely based on grades?
Yeah, based on grades. That was the main thing. And then after the interviews, there was around 30 students, and from 30 of us, 3 of us managed to pass the interviews, and we got the opportunity to attend internship in Amsterdam. And so 3 of us went there. It was a very successful internship. And then after they saw our performances, they gave us the full-time positions directly. And then as soon as we graduated, we came to London as a full-time software engineers.
Yeah. And all 3 of you guys made it to London.
Yes, exactly.
And actually, we met in your first year here at Google. And I remember there was actually an intern also from Ethiopia that year.
Yeah, exactly. So after they saw our potential and we can actually, pass the interviews and also like can prove ourselves, they start to give out like more opportunities, internship opportunities and interviews to to students in Ethiopia, and not just Google. After like this happened, Bloomberg also jumped in, and there are like around more than 10 full-time software engineers at Bloomberg right now. From
because I only know one of them.
Yeah, from my uni. So Bloomberg is also one of the other companies who jumped in afterwards and said like, okay, these guys can actually, make it, and then also managed to pass the interview. So they start to give out the
all come in at the same year as you made it to Google, or was it like a year after? Or
so after us, like our success stories made it to the social media, and also like the company Africa to Silicon Valley reached out to these companies. From these 30 people, 3 people made it, and compared to the success rate of the whole world, I think like from the whole applicants, 0.2% make it, like managed to pass the interview from 100,000 something applications yearly or from Google, and from 30 students, 3 made it, which means a very high percentage.
Yeah.
So it was a good point that they made that convinced them to give more interview opportunities to students from my uni. And then so we have now like so many students have got positions in Amazon, Databricks, Bloomberg, and multiple other like top tech companies. They start to give out this opportunity, Palantir as well. So they start to give out these interviews, and students actually pass the interviews and make it to these big tech companies. So after us, like the doors started opening. Africa to Silicon Valley, also the organization started expanding throughout Africa. So now, starting from Ethiopia, they made it to Ghana, and also I think they're also starting a new branch in other African country. So now it's expanding throughout the whole African country, which was already the goal. So it started from Ethiopia and then started expanding afterwards.
Also Ethiopia, East Africa, Ghana, almost all the way West Africa, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now they have branches in East Africa, West Africa, in Ghana, and one more, I think it's in Uganda or Tanzania. I'm not sure yet. But yeah, and also like they do remote education as well, where people from different African countries also join remotely and then give, a proper education to make it to the interview.
How did it make you feel being approached by the person who's like the Africa to Silicon Valley program and knowing you're one of the selected 30 people? Is it something that made you work harder, knowing that this was potentially a once in a lifetime situation? How do you make sure it doesn't get to your head? Like, how did you make sure in those 3 months you have to prepare, you have to ace it?
So the thing is, still, after like I got selected, I never thought I would make it. I was just like curious to learn about data structures and algorithms because I had zero background in there. I'm the type of person who always gets curious, like on this thing that I don't know about. And this was something that I did not know about. And it was challenging at first. Like I had no idea how to solve like problems and how to use algorithms and stuff. So it was like a very exciting thing. And I was just enjoying the process. And there was not a thing in my, I'm definitely going to make it. I have to make it at Google. Like I didn't have that mindset. I was just enjoying the process. I was just, liking, when there's like a good feeling that you get after solving a problem. People in that environment will get it.
So you got a dopamine high every time you solve the little...
Yeah. And also like, it's not just about solving the problem. It's also about like you like expanding a bit to make your solution a bit more efficient. So those things added up and I just loved it. And then when the opportunity came and then after I did my interviews, I was like, this is awesome. And then actually when I received the first email, I remember it was at 2 a.m. I jumped on Auntie's bed.
Auntie's your friend.
Auntie is my friend.
Who also made it into Google.
Yeah, exactly. So we were in the same dormitory. He got the first good news first. Like he got the email first. Like we celebrated with him and everything. And my email came a bit later. And I was on my other side of like we sleep in bunk beds. It was on the other side. It was 2 a.m. and I saw the email and I just ran away and jumped on his bed right away. Just like, I got the email, just like, oh, yeah. So it was an exciting moment. And because I didn't have that expectation, like when you don't have the expectation, it hits. It just feels amazing, right?
Yeah.
So it was a great moment to remember, to be honest.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
I also know you're very active on Instagram. You keep constantly have those ask me a question things, and the ones I do understand, which are in English, because a lot of them are in Amharic.
Yeah.
What is like the most common question people ask who want to replicate what you did, and what is the most common advice you have?
So, most of the time I do those so that like I know there are a lot of people like me who had the same beginnings as me and struggling to figure out like if they're on the right path or not, which I also feel the same way. So I will try to be as helpful as I can with those, like if you have any question, just ask me whenever you want to. And the most advice that I would give them is, number one, consistency. Like you should always be consistent with your efforts. And the reason for you to be consistent is you have to love what you're doing. So make sure that what you do is something that you really like to do. Otherwise, like it's just going to feel like work. You don't want to feel like it's work. You get me, right? So there has to be a bit of a passion in it. So number one, first, you make sure that you like what you're doing. Just because you see like people being successful or it has money in it, if you jump in there and then you're struggling, then that is a real pain that you're going to feel. So make sure you like what you're doing first. And then if you like what you do, then you're not going to complain. So you just the late nights that you do and the things like that was going to make you push a bit of that makes you push a bit harder, you just enjoy them. Okay? So make sure like you enjoy the process. I mean, to enjoy the process, you have to like it first, and then keep it consistent.
Actually, a question now that I'm doing this podcast, what I really enjoy is the talking part.
Yeah.
But then, of course, there's parts like the video editing.
Yeah.
Especially in the case of today where the camera failed 3 times.
Yeah.
I will have to cut so much more than I normally do.
Yeah.
How do you overcome those moments where you're like, oh my God, I love everything about what I'm doing besides this one part, and this one part is detrimental to what you're doing?
I mean, so life is not always about flowers, right? You gotta have the expectation that like you're gonna have a bumpy road, and it's just a part of the process.
So you just accept as part of the process. But like, how do you make sure it's like, okay, I really just need to sit down and just edit this episode?
So you mean like those part like that comes with it that you have to do?
Well, knowing there's a bumpy road is one thing.
Yeah.
But actually being like, okay, fine, I'll make my way through this bumpy road. Like, I'll just sit down. This part is just not fun, but I have to do it.
Yes. So most of the time, like, I just have this mindset that I have to make it. Like, no matter what, I have to make it. I got no options for, like, I might fail, but I always make sure, like, I always have that energy in me that, okay, this is just a part of the process. I have to bring myself up, because as a firstborn in my family, I mean, usually in African household, as a firstborn, you're the person that your siblings look up to. And I like them to see me failing, feel that pain, but I also like them to see me coming back up. And so I have this mindset, like, I'm probably going to face another low point in my life. Even after I make it to Google, at some point, I might face it. But I always make sure that I have that mindset, like, I'll always come back up no matter what. And this is something that I've been working on myself for a very long time, like since uni. Yeah. Because I needed to become financially independent really early while becoming a student. I also need to find different opportunities to build myself up. So those journeys kind of draw this line in my mindset where, like, okay, I might not make it, or if I fail, I just know that I'm gonna come back. I don't know how. I will just keep trying until it's just until it does not work, I guess. But
does you coming from a bit poorer country or a country where opportunity is more scarce part of this motivation? Because for me, I come from the complete opposite. My family's not rich, but we're well off. Yeah. And oftentimes I feel like I've wasted what's been given to me. I speak several languages simply because my parents are from different countries, and I'm like, I didn't do anything with it. And I feel like sometimes I need more of that drive. But is that part of your drive?
Yes,
like, hey,
definitely.
If I don't do anything,
I have to survive, man. It's a survival world that I grew up in. Like, you have to make it. You don't have any other options. If you fail, then it's not just about you. You're gonna fail your siblings as well. All right. Having that at the back of your mind, where you don't have any options to fail, that will give you the energy and the boost that you need whenever you face failure. Okay, it's just another step. It's not a failure. It's just another step that I have to just overcome. And that's like, I don't even know how to define failure in my case. Like, because any other bumpy road that I face or any other obstacle that I face, it's just another step for me to overcome. Failure is just like when I really give up. I mean, it's just like giving up and just, okay, now I lose. I'm just gonna stick in there. Okay, maybe that might be failure, but these things, I mean.
A question here as well too. What is the outcome of failure if you are from Ethiopia? Because I actually spoke to your friend Antenne at one point, and I asked him a few questions. What is it like whenever you're back home. And he told me that some of his friends who have studied the same as you in antenna, so software engineering, who didn't make it to Google or outside of Ethiopia, were telling him genuinely that they were considering like trying by boat or anything getting to Europe. Is that the outcome, or what is a situation like?
I mean, they don't. I mean, a lot of people don't make it like this. I mean, like they don't get the opportunity to be successful, to make it to a big successful tech company. But it depends on how you see life, all right? So I think most people, like most young people in my country, they are like overwhelmed by social media, all right? And the life that they see on social media, you know, like rich people having fun on a boat, you know, this lifestyle that they see. Yeah. And that is not something that you achieve easily from my country. So instead of like facing the challenges within the country and make it from that, most of them would think like, okay, maybe I have to go out of the country to be able to achieve this type of life, which I think is a bit wrong for me, because of course, like it's not easy to make it from there, but there are also so many, I mean, a country like mine is full of problems that has not been solved yet, which means if you see it, it's a niche area that if you solve it, you're going to become successful. Yeah. Because nobody hasn't solved it yet. And whenever you're the first one to solve some problem, and for example, like I can give you a very big success story in my country where we didn't have any Uber or Bolt systems in my country, right? There is this legendary woman in tech who brought this system. It's called Ride in my country, and she struggled for years to introduce the system to the people, because it's really a struggle to people. They don't want to go out of their comfort zone, obviously. Yeah. And introducing this new system to the country, it was a hell of a challenge, but she made it. It took her like 2 or 3 years. Then after she made it, she's one of the richest people in my country, and she takes vacation in Europe. You get what I'm saying, right? Yeah. So it's all about the mindset, all right? And it doesn't have to be like that, but like just people just choose to take this path. Okay, I just need to, you know, immigrate illegally and then seek refugee and then try to make life from there, which I think is wrong. Like
it seems extremely risky for what the outcome is.
Exactly.
If you, okay, now you gave an exceptional success story. Yeah. In one of the beginning recordings, depending on which one I'll take, you mentioned in your head you kind of envision yourself, well, you'll be a software engineer back in Ethiopia, have your own business. Yeah. For the average software engineer in Ethiopia, what would like a life look like? Would you still live somewhat comfortable, or? Yeah,
I would say you would definitely live a comfortable life, like a modest, comfortable life, if you choose to be hired in companies. But I can definitely say that it's underpaid. I mean, like compared to the international job market, it's way underpaid. But you can live a proper local life that like you'll be able to manage to pay your bills monthly and, you know, survive. But the best thing about being a software engineer is the sky's the limit. So you can work remotely. I used to work for international companies when I was a student. So when I was a third year student, I used to work for a startup company in West Africa, which used to pay me really good. I mean, like I was paid in foreign currency. So when you convert it back to my local currency, it was a lot. And I
was that enough to pay for your own university and everything yourself?
Definitely. And also like being able to provide to home as well, cover like a lot of expenses to my little ones, home and everything. So I mean, the opportunity is a lot. If you see it like with open-minded,
were you able to see the opportunities before you left Ethiopia, or having had the privilege of getting into Google?
It was before Google.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first thing, so How I started is first, when I was a second year student, I built these two apps. One was called a student kit, which the first one actually was called Ethiopian newspapers, where you access local newspapers on your mobile phone. And there was not an app like that in the country, so it went really well. Like it had more than 10,000 installs.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which was great. And my whole intention with it was, my mindset was first, people were using Facebook as a information source, and which created like a lot of chaos within the country, and people were dying because of that. And I saw that, and I thought like, okay, maybe we need to provide a lot of the information sources together so that like people can cross-check and fact-check. And then after that, it went really well. And my plan was like, okay, then after people use it, I might have like generate a little bit of income from ads and stuff. So that was a good story. And then I started building my own apps, like where I used to manage my class in uni. I built an app for myself, and my friends liked it, and they were like, just put it on the Play Store and we would love to use it as well. And that also went really well. So, and because of those apps, I start getting attention from people who hire like developers to do their own personal projects. And then after that, like I started to, conversation with these people. I started to work on startups that were outside of the country and start to make my own money. So this is like an example that without nothing, if you just like look into different problems that you can solve and, get things done, then opportunities will, one opportunity will open another one. One opportunity will open another one. So there's definitely opportunities that they can use.
Tying your projects that you just worked on back to how to get into Google from a country like Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Well, in this case, you were selected as one of the best 30 students in your university. How does having worked on these projects play into that? Did it give you some more experience that also reflected in your grades or anything else? Or is that something Google consider as well? Or is it just how good are you in all the tests that they have?
To be honest, that was just a personal project that I did. But when it did come to play was after I managed the technical interviews. To pass the technical, there is a project matching phase where you meet a bunch of managers who are currently hiring for interns, and they ask you like, what projects that have you worked on? Yeah. And I was like, well. I mean, this is my opportunity to shine. Yeah. And I did this and I have an experience in Android, and I love working on Android environment. I love the whole framework and everything. And they would be like, okay, we're also looking for an Android engineer. Like, we're looking for someone who's going to work on an Android project. So you might be a good fit. And I'll be like, yes, please. So those things, like how these little opportunities, you never know how it comes into play.
Yeah.
All right. But I did not imagine that it would also come into display. I just enjoyed the process. And then
the other two people who also made it into Google the same year as you, did they work on a lot of projects like this as well?
I mean, you don't need to. You're an intern, so you're not expected to work on big industrial projects and stuff. But they worked on a very interesting projects for school projects, like for uni projects. So they did. I mean, those projects that they did come into play. When it comes to the project matching phase.
Yeah. A topic as a whole that I also would like to cover is, what is it like to study in Ethiopia? I spoke to my friend David. He is currently the interim CEO for Engineers Without Borders in the Canadian branch. For the ones who don't know what Engineers Without Borders is, it's similar to Doctors Without Borders. So they pick any kind of social project that they want to work on as an engineer, any type of engineer. So it could be software. He's not a software engineer by trade. And he said he was in Uganda at a university in Uganda. I'm not sure which one. And one of the things they mentioned is that they often, well, I'm not sure if it's a struggle, but something they think about is studying in their university too theoretical, because they don't necessarily have the means to allow everyone to get the practical experience.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I should have asked him, is that because they don't have enough computers at uni, or do they just not have enough companies to partner with, or projects? In which way they're lacking the tech practical experience? How was that for you? Was it a lot of practical studying? Was it a lot more theoretical studying? Did everyone buy their own laptops? Did the university provide laptops? What is it like to study in Ethiopia?
Wow, so that's actually a good question. Ethiopia is one of the poorest countries in the world, like economically. And that means most universities, for example, Addis Ababa University, where I studied, is one of the top universities, right? Which means they have a better laboratories, they have the better equipment, they have better computer labs, which is not the same case for other universities. So most people go through these challenges where they're not provided with enough appliances and the things that they need to have, like a better practical knowledge, especially in high school, in elementaries. Just because of the economical situations, most public schools, and unless you afford like a very good private school, they don't have a proper laboratories where they study with all the materials that they need. So most of it is theoretical. I went through that part, and most of it that I know is theoretical classes. So we don't actually like do a lot of practical knowledge, and because we don't have labs that have like the appliances.
Do you mean, is that
computer labs, chemistry labs?
Okay, but like a room full of computers offered by the university? Or from Romanian people that I know, they said labs were like classes where they were coding, but I think everyone brought their own laptop.
Yeah, there's no way that you can afford, like, I mean, no way, but like it's not the case for most Ethiopians.
Did you have your own laptop?
I did have my own laptop, and that was because my uncle from abroad sent it to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as well, yeah, if you grow up in Ethiopia, you need to be a bit lucky that you have some form of connections and can get supported.
Yeah. It's not easy to get a laptop. Like, that's not the case for most population. But like, definitely there are a lot of people who can afford their own laptops. But like, it's 100 million people country, and I would say 90% would not be able to afford laptop just like that, unless like you get opportunity or get like things from abroad. Yeah. And because of that, I mean, even like I had a laptop, thankfully, for my uncle who lived abroad, but I did not have any tech background until I joined uni, like zero. And the reason I joined was I was just curious. Yeah.
So you luckily joined the right path.
Yeah.
To make it all the way into Google.
Completely.
Yeah. Did the other two guys who made it into Google the same year as you, did they have their own laptops?
I'm not sure. I'm really not sure.
When was your roommate? How well do you know your roommate?
I mean, like from back. I mean, I'm talking about like their life before uni. But in uni, yes, they did have their own laptop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was definitely something that put them up for success.
Yeah. I mean, probably their family also afforded it. Yeah.
Okay. So once you were in uni, you feel, well, especially because you did your own projects, you did get some form of practical experience. Do you ever feel like once you joined Google, did you feel like it was enough, or did you feel unprepared, or were you like, yeah, fuck this, or fuck yeah, I got this, this is easy, I've done this every day? And you
no, I mean, so the thing about Google is the environment is a whole new environment from the environment that you used to before joining to Google, because the whole how things get done is a bit different than what the rest of like world does it. So it's a whole new environment. It's a whole it's a whole blank page that you have to learn a lot of things from scratch. I mean, of course, like the programming languages that we already know, but how the tools that we use to to make changes to the code base, how the whole so you can code. But engineering and coding is a bit different. This is one of the things that I learned. You can code, but like engineering is writing like a proper code, documenting it properly, testing it properly, and also like making sure your solution is efficient. So as a normal developer before that, I did not even write like that much test in my life, to be honest, than I wrote in a few days while being an intern at Google. So it's your whole perspective about like how you code will change when you join Google. Yeah. And it was just a whole new experience, and I learned most of the things from scratch, and which was great. I mean, it was not new that I go through something that I don't know and make it from that. So, but yeah, it was just a beautiful experience, I'll say.
Nice.
Yeah. But definitely, like, it was challenging though.
Yeah.
It was a pure challenge.
Yeah. And once you got to Google, or also in your interviews, did you ever feel like there were some stereotypes or expectations that people had of you, like the recruiters, that they come in with? Or also, because actually another Kenyan friend of mine who I asked about this in preparation, he was talking about the struggle of how both you see yourself and how you think people see yourself. Did you ever feel that? Did you ever think, oh, they think I'm not capable because I am from Africa or from Ethiopia? Or did you never have that?
I mean, from the recruiters and Google is like a very like really nice place where you don't feel that. Like the recruiters, they were super respectful. I didn't feel any type of stereotype throughout the whole process of the interviews and everything, which means like they have worked really well with their, with their culture. Since it's a very international company where people from different backgrounds join, it has created like a sustainable environment where people actually know and respect people's background, and also like prohibit from making any kind of assumptions before jumping into some type of stereotypic conclusion and everything. But on other situations, of course, like on day-to-day life, social life, you will feel this. And
that's, you mean now that you live in London?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And for example, starting from the border control, like starting from there, they will just see your passport and they will ask you what you do, and you'll be like, I'm a software engineer at Google. And I'll be like, I have to show a couple of my emails that I exchanged with my manager to prove that I actually work for Google when I first came to London. So yeah, but I'm not concluding that this is what happens every day, or maybe like, I don't know if could it be different if I were coming from New York and say this, and would they ask the same question or make that person go through the same thing that I did go through? I'm not sure, but this is what I've seen so far.
Is that something you actively think about, or in your head you just don't care?
I don't care most of the time, to be honest. It's just like people are free to think whatever they want to think. I mean, if they are willing to learn, I would love to, give them the insight that they need. I wish like people don't usually make assumptions rather than first ask. And then like, I have heard about like this about Ethiopia. Is it true? That would be a lovely way to ask if what you have in mind or any stereotype that you heard about any country should be addressed, rather than like, oh yeah, I mean, of course you're from Ethiopia. If something happens, or like, oh, I did not know like people from Ethiopia look good like this, or whatever. It's just
you do look very good.
Thank you very much.
That's actually the main reason I have to.
I know.
You just touched upon actually an exact topic that I do want to cover. It's like, what are stereotypes people have of Ethiopia and which ones are true?
Yeah.
And this one I would love to cover because I know I grew up with so many stereotypes.
Yeah.
Because actually my previous episode that I filmed with Niha, I can only recommend people listen to that one because she's an AI ethics engineer.
Okay.
So for this one, I actually asked Gemini for a few stereotypes about Africa and for Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Where ethically it said, well, these are stereotypes, these are not true. So Gemini did well there. Gemini is ChatGPT from Google. So those stereotypes, and I must admit I grew up with the same ones, is, well, everyone is poor. Everyone there needs our help.
Yeah.
Everything is dry. It's like the Sahara is the whole continent. Everyone lives in huts.
Yeah.
And well, I know you for 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
And also my friend David Boroto, who I mentioned earlier, the CEO from Engineers Without Borders. He also told me a lot of things from where he originally is from, Congo, and also grew up in South Africa.
Yeah.
And he said, and I actually really liked the way he explained this one, because for me living in London, it explained so much. He said when he was in Addis Ababa, he compared that to you going to Primrose Hill in London, which is just a big hill in London where you can see all the skyscrapers for the ones who haven't been in London.
Yeah.
And you can see construction everywhere in London.
Yeah.
And he said that is what he felt when he was in Addis Ababa. Like everything is just being built. It's a modern city. So yeah, the complete opposite of the shit I grew up with.
Yeah.
Which, well, actually, from what you said earlier, maybe it's partially true, because you said it's still a lot of people do live in poverty, but you clearly also have a very developed hub.
Definitely. So, I mean, there are different stereotypes, like specifically when I talk about Ethiopia. I mean, there were one incident, I think it was back in like an Ethiopian calendar, it was 1977.
Your calendar is 8 years ahead?
Yeah. Before. So if you add like 8 or 7 years on that, it would be like 1983, something like that, or 84. There was a very bad drought that happened, and a hunger outbreak was there, which was advertised like on the world's media, asking for help. And that kind of sticked around for a long time, and people still think we're in drought, and economically, yes, we're one of the poorest countries, right? But people
did Google on my way here.
Yeah.
In the last 20 years, your GDP growth has been averaging 7.5%, which is a lot higher than most European countries.
Exactly.
And it's one of the fastest growing in Africa.
Yeah, exactly. We're one of the fastest growing African countries. There's so much change we're within our country, and we're on the right path. Like, we're growing a lot, and people are prospering. A lot of like infrastructure issues are being solved right now. Power issues. We're building the largest dam in Africa, which is probably going to solve like a lot of like problems caused by power outage.
A whole different topic. I don't want to get in there, but are you going to have issues with Egypt cutting off the Nile?
There's like a lot of fake news around that. Like, we're not cutting off the Nile.
You're not cutting off the Nile.
We're just going to make energy and power out of it and release it back to the path, which is like going towards Egypt. But as like the origin of the Nile, because we are the origin of Nile, so we haven't made any use out of it. And now is the time where like most population don't even get power. We need to solve this problem for our people. So all what we're saying is, let's just share it, and share it properly, where like nobody gets hurt in any type of way. Because I don't think there's any other intentions to like cut off the Nile, or I don't think that's the case at all. And people are getting it right now. Like, people are getting the real information, and like things are getting much, much better. But anyways, so the country is in a great trajectory towards growth. Like, our capital city has changed tremendously. If you go now, it looks beautiful. Like, so many new technologies are being introduced into the country. It's in revolution, all right? But still, though, there are a lot of people, especially in Europe, which is still stuck in 1985 or 1984. Simple example, when I was in Amsterdam, I was getting an Uber with my friends, and he asked us, like, where you from? We're from Ethiopia. Oh, I know Ethiopia. When I was a kid, my parents used to bully me to finish my food, saying like, kids in Ethiopia are like hungry and you're wasting this food.
I grew up with that as well, but it was just like Africa as a whole. It was just like, you guys are all the same.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we were like, yeah, but that was in 1985 or 1984, and that's not the case anymore. So yeah, there are a lot of stereotypes, obviously, but like I think if people could just research a little bit, and instead of just like absorb everything from the mainstream medias and everything. I mean, now is like we are in better times where you can actually make your own research. You have so many AI tools that you can use. Just ask it.
Yeah.
Just don't absorb anything, because like, for example, I mean, the thing that I don't get is people actually research about on the thing that they're interested in. Like, for example, if some president says something, they'll fact check. Like, they go actually on their app and they're just like, is this true?
Yeah.
Why can't you do the same thing about the stereotypes? Just ask it and check if that's the same case. And then...
I think one problem, at least for me, is until I've met you, and I haven't met anyone from Ethiopia.
Yeah.
So I never had the incentive to think about that. And then if I studied business, so in the courses when they were talking about things like offshoring or nearshoring, they would mention Asia, or they would mention like Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
They wouldn't mention Africa when it comes to high skilled labor, for example, which, well, now that I know you, that is completely not true. Like there's extremely high or good labor in Ethiopia. That's what this whole podcast episode was about. So I guess one thing is, how do you create this awareness? Yeah, it's easy to get the information, but you need to give people an incentive or a reason to even think in that direction. And I actually think you're kind of working on that with your startup called Habeshan Threads.
Yes.
Yeah. Or Habeshan Threads.
Habeshan Threads,
I always forget the A at the end.
Yeah. So, I mean, the whole reason that I started Habeshan Threads, to explain it in a very brief way, it's a platform where we sell true, authentic African art. Yeah. So we're trying to bring that true, authentic African art to day-to-day wearable designs. Yeah. So through that, I mean, most of the time, like, Africa is well known for its culture. Each African country has their own cultural clothes, designs, and everything. But they are mostly like dependent on special occasions, like for some holidays, some like weddings, public holidays, religious holidays. These are like the factors that make people wear their traditional clothes. But when it comes to day-to-day wears, like this one, for example, this T-shirt, like this area is more dominated by the Western world. That means like we usually wear something that does not represent us at all. You get me, right? So what I thought was like, okay, and instead of just wearing what does not represent us, what if we wear something that actually tells our story, that actually says something about us? And that was the whole point of like me starting Habeshan Threads. And I know for sure that there are so much talented artists in Africa. It's just lack of opportunity. Yeah. Just like the same story like mine. Like if I didn't get the opportunity for the interviews to become a software engineer at Google, I would have never made it. And why most people from Ethiopia are not getting this opportunity is lack of opportunity. So if I open this opportunity where digital artists who can actually draw arts that tell a story about like the African community, like where they're from or how their past were, their past history, their hairstyle could be like so many things that they can express with the art. So like if I open up a platform where actually these digital artists bring their work into wearable designs and people can actually buy something that tells their story, then that would be amazing. So I created this platform right now. I have like 4 or 5 designers that actually currently contributing to the platform. I started from my own country, from Ethiopia, and now like we'll be expanding to the rest of the continent, like from starting from my country and expanding to the rest of the continent. And what we do is basically just put an art, like have an art on, bring it to the day-to-day wearable designs, and then help people wear where something that actually relates to their story. Yeah. For example, this one.
For people who are only listening, it's I would describe it as a warrior holding a spear with a very nice robe, white robe.
Yeah. So this is like a typical Ethiopian warrior back in the day. So one of the things that Ethiopia is known for is it's the only African country in the African continent that was never been colonized.
Yeah.
And Italia, so during the scramble for Africa, where different European countries were scrambling Africa to their, they were like taking African countries to their own. Italy was the one who took Ethiopia as like who claimed over Ethiopia, and came with the military and everything. We have a very big war called the Battle of Adwa, where Ethiopian warriors actually won over Italians, and they backed off.
Yeah.
And after that, the whole African independence movement was created, because it was never imagined that a black people could actually defeat white people. That was the whole stereotype, let's just say. Yeah. And then after we defeated them, and the other African countries were like, wait, we can actually defeat them. And then started the whole independence movement throughout the whole Africa. And independent leaders in Africa took their military lessons in Ethiopia, including Nelson Mandela.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that one.
Yeah. Like we were like the center of like movements to free other African countries from colonization. So this one, for example, this art represent those warriors who won over the Italians, like the typical Ethiopian warrior looks like. And people would, when I wear this, people would be just wondering like, what's that? And I would get this opportunity to tell my story. So this is like a good way where we can actually expand the knowledge about Africa, the rich heritage about Africa to the rest of the world, so that like we can educate people about our story, our rich history, and also our rich heritage.
Yeah. What I also really like is not only your designs, but also the information you put out on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Maybe we should just plug your Instagram. Is it Habesha_Threads?
Yeah, Habesha_Threads and another underscore as well.
Okay. So yeah, actually you stopped doing that, and I would like you to continue, because I went through your Instagram from Habesha_Threads underscore again for everyone who missed the first time.
Yeah.
In the beginning, you had a lot of fun facts about Africa. First Ethiopia, and then into Africa. So you also included the fun facts of the origin of coffee is in Ethiopia.
Yes.
So all us addicts should thank you guys.
Definitely.
And then you also mentioned, to the whole independence thing, Ethiopia was one of the founding nations of the United Nations.
Yes, African Union,
So yeah, I really like how you have these parts of fun facts.
Yes.
And also for some of the designs, you have an explanation behind what is the story behind the design. So it's not only like, oh, this looks cool. It's like just a warrior I can identify with fighting or whatever. But this is the story behind this specific warrior. Like it's the one who did fight off the Italian or whatever. So I think especially the combination of the designs together with how you do your whole marketing through Instagram is what creates, for me as an outsider, the complete picture of what you're trying to do. Also, what I think is really cool, what you told me outside of this podcast, is you touched upon it a little bit earlier, but the first few designs you created completely yourself. And also something I want to get in a bit is, you're not a designer. How did you do that? So the first few designs you created completely yourself, because you were like, okay, I want a strong base and I wanted to represent what I wanted to represent. Yeah. And then you started hiring designers to create their own designs. Yeah. And they kind of sell their own designs through you. So actually you don't pay them. Yeah. But it's commission based. Yeah. So it's commission based. So you incentivize them to create something as good as they can. Yes. So I think the whole business model is really cool. Then one last thing I would like to cover before we have to end this podcast. So maybe in the last 10 minutes. One thing I asked myself before starting this podcast is, I can go all in on my career in data and try to become more knowledgeable, study more to either get a promotion or go to another company. I hope my manager doesn't hear this. If she does, I'm very happy with who I am. But the other opportunity is, hey, there's this thing I like to do. I really enjoy talking to people, and I listen to way too many podcasts myself.
Yeah.
I play too much video games. I should not do that. I should do something with my time. So I'm like, fine. I'm happy, more or less happy with where my salary is at, and I can still learn with the 8, most likely a bit more hours that I still put in there. But yeah, so I'm kind of chose to take the risk of like, hey, let me just pick up this completely different topic, not incentivized by money, but like it is taken away from where I could be if I just would go full on my career. So I'm wondering, how did you approach this? Is this a thought you even had when you come to Habeshan Threads? Because you could also be like, oh, I'm just going to do 12-hour shifts at Google and be the new CEO in 5 years.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like I'm not the type of person who who just settles right away. I'm always, the whole reason behind like why I was interested. I mean, I have amazing career. I really love what I do for Google as well. But I also had this passion because like it's my community who was the whole reason why I'm here, right? In one way or another, everybody has contributed for me to the person that I have become right now. My local community, that's what I mean. And this is like a reflection of something that always makes me think that I should find a way to give back to my community. And if you expand this idea, the whole African continent, the whole African community, we really need like larger mediums to speak our story, because you see all of these stereotypes, and you see a lot of like fake news, like a lot of misleading informations. And what other way would be like, what would I can contribute so that like we can, you know, represent our African community in the world, like at international stage. One, I used to draw when I was in high school. I love art. I go to art galleries. I love poetry. So anything related to art was something that I was really interested in. And when I started like, and then I think about, okay, I love art beside like coding and everything. And then how can I use this passion to, you know, to give back to my community? And I was like, okay, there is no, I don't see a lot of people doing this. Like there is no like international brand that actually represents the African community. And there might be, but like I don't know none. Like I did my research and I don't know none that actually, you know, that is actually dedicated to bring the African art into day-to-day wearable designs. And okay, this is the space then. And then the second step was finding the right balance between like, okay, I'm a full-time software engineer, so I have my weekends. So like I made a time slots that I would actually dedicate to build the whole website, the whole platform. And then, because like, if you go to people with ideas, there's less probability that they're going to believe that it's going to become a success.
Yeah.
So I had to do it. Like I had to build a website, finish up the platform. And then since I used to draw when I was like in high school, I drew some of the artworks and then put it out there and did some sales. And I went to the designers then, say like, this is possible. All right. And this is, we're going to make this thing a big deal. And then since they see everything landed and working, it was easier for them to onboard. All right. So this is the whole path. But coming back to your question, it's just like my mindset. The whole reason why I started this whole thing is just the whole reason me really wanting to give back to my community. And I thought like this would be the best way to give back to my African community and create a platform where we can actually represent what they stand for and give them opportunity to tell their stories.
Yeah. How long was the time between you thinking of this idea and actually starting to work on it? Because I think a lot of people can be lost in the, oh, this is a cool idea.
Yeah.
And then never start doing it.
Yeah. I think I would say like half a year.
Half a year?
Yeah.
And what about any kind of barriers of actually getting started, or once you get started? Like, because I study business, not coding, but I had some business or tech ideas or software ideas, but I was like, I don't have anyone who can code it for me. I don't want to spend money on it. And then I was like, do I want to learn coding? Can I learn coding?
Yeah.
And also now that I'm doing this podcast, look, this is 10 years later, so my mindset has completely changed. I'm like, I can learn video and sound editing. I can buy these things. But I can imagine you must have had so many different struggles. You said you did draw.
Yeah.
But like, a thought I have already is like, well, you can draw it on paper.
Yeah.
But
I had to learn.
Yeah, but how do you put it from paper to on a t-shirt already, right? Because you need to convert what you drew somehow into a digital form, and then from the digital form find a way to print and distribute.
Yeah.
You also at some point mentioned to me, well, building the website was easy. You're a software engineer.
Yeah.
But for example, enabling or installing a payment system through it, there must be so many small issues everywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
And how do you make sure you don't get blocked by that?
So the thing is, like, I would say the biggest drive, I mean, I had those struggles while building the website. I mean, one, it was a good opportunity for me to stay active in the whole tech environment, because, I mean, when you work for big corporate like companies like Google, you will be like an expert on a specific area. Yeah. And if you get too comfortable in there, the whole new tech world you will just stay behind. So you need to, like, make sure that you're always up to date with the current technologies and tech stacks and everything. So it was a good opportunity for me to learn about a lot of tech stack that I needed to build the whole platform and website, and also learn like a lot of tools, integration tools and everything. And second thing is I used to draw on paper. I did not have any knowledge about like how to draw digitally. So I need to learn. So I took YouTube courses and how to even like edit online, do sketches. There's a tool called sketch.io, which is actually free, that you can sketch online. So I did manage to learn those stuff online and then start working on it. Since my drive was passion into it, and I was just enjoying it. I mean, me having the tech background, maybe that is an advantage, that I did not to hire anyone else. Maybe if I was in your position, I'm not sure I was ready to invest money to realize like this whole thing into reality. But me having like the tech background, also willing to learn how to do digital art, that actually helped me a lot, I would say. And since there is a passion behind it, I did not mind the struggles in the middle.
What are the best ways to learn those things that you don't know? Is it, you mentioned YouTube?
YouTube, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, YouTube has always been my resource.
Okay. What about a web shop architecture? How do you get into that?
I used to do it when I was in uni.
Okay,
I used to build websites, for companies and stuff. So I had a background in that.
The distribution of the t-shirts, like how did you find that out?
I did my research. So I was looking for like, are there like, so I saw this website, Printful, if you know it.
No, I don't know it.
So it's where you can do your own custom designs in it, and they will print it for you. So I was like, okay, if there's this website, and I checked, they have actually an API where you can integrate your website with them and have like those things. What you do is if you integrate with their API, your orders can actually tunnel through that API and put the order on their platform. So I discovered like it's possible to do that. And I did like some private communication with them and made sure like, these things works. So I did integrate with them. They had a perfect integration tools, and that was it. And then like, I was like, okay, so manufacturing and distribution is done with them. All I need to worry about is actually having like a proper authentic designs on my platform. So yeah, first challenge, build a website, having the manufacturer get ready, connect them. And the second one was the designs. I did bunch, and then afterwards, like, reached out to the designers. They were happy. They onboarded. Now they are doing the designs.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Did you find everything out by yourself, or did you have any form of mentors or anyone helping you out? Because for me, I was lucky that my friend Nova, who I hope to have on this podcast at some point as a photographer, and he used to be in a metal band, he told me which camera to get and which microphones to get, and that cut off at least 2 weeks of work from me actually getting started. Did you have anyone?
No. But like they are like I when I started with this idea, there were very few people like really close to me that I discussed, like, I'm thinking of this and thinking of that, and then they were like, great.
That's an interesting question. Why did you not tell anyone? Because honestly, I told too many people about that I'm working on this podcast, but at the same time I'm like, fuck, what the fuck did I tell them? Because if I don't publish this shit now, if I'm like ever like, oh man, my guests were too boring, or I suck as a host, or I don't figure out how to edit this in a nice way, and I choose not to publish it, I'm perceived as a failure, or I perceive myself as a failure. But now people actually know. So, well, it kind of puts pressure on me too to actually execute.
Which is nice.
Yeah, how come you didn't tell anyone?
It's just how I do things most of the time. I don't like to talk until I reach some substantial stage in my ideas. Because, I don't know, like, it's just a life thing. Usually, while growing up, I like surprising people, like my parents and stuff, like with my academical achievements. Like, when they ask me if my exams went well, I'll be like, meh. I mean, like, this might not be good. And then I came up with, like, very good result, and they'll be very happy. So...
set low expectations.
I don't like to put expectations in a lot of people. Sure. I just want to, like, achieve something and then break it to people. Other than, like, I don't like to talk about a lot of things on early stages. I even think, like, it might jinx it. I don't know.
Okay. Good to know that I'm not on that list of friends who gets to know anything early on.
You're not, bro. So... I mean, I hate to break it to you, but I'm playing.
Okay. It's okay. At this point, we can just be acquaintances, people who know each other instead of...
acquaintances.
Yeah. Instead of friends.
Come on. Don't be a crybaby now. I'll make sure that I will definitely bring it to your attention whenever I have something moving forward.
On this note, I really admire how your attitude, mostly your attitude of how... you don't seem to actually see any barriers. You just work through them. You just see them as a small little fun challenge. I feel like this podcast could have gone a lot more into depth in a lot of things, but also didn't want to keep it too long.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we can have a
second episode.
Yeah. Maybe specialize only on stereotypes or only on Habesha or anything like that. But yeah, thank you very much for having shared your experiences, your wisdom, your mentality, and having been on the Boring Career podcast, because yours is especially boring.
And I really appreciate you for having me. It's an honor to be in the Boring Career podcast, even though I am the least person with to say like I have a boring career, because I have an amazing career. I work for an amazing company. So, but yeah, I'm just being a good friend and showing up for you. All right.
That is true. I agree with all of that. All right.
Thank you for having me, brother.
Thanks for being on the show.
All right.
Hey, you made it to the end of the episode. Before you leave, can you please do me this one simple favor and subscribe to the podcast? It's your free and easy way to show your support for all the hard work we put into every single episode, as well as help us reach more people and get new guests onto the show. Thank you for listening to the Untold Paths podcast.